call. Um, Hi, everyone. Tonight we're going to talk about recruiting because we had so many questions the other night or last night on our workshop, and I thought, let's get together and just have a chat about recruiting. And when you think about recruiting someone, some of you are new, some of you are experienced. What is the first thought that comes to your mind?
They'll say no.
Who'd like to go
How
first?
can this work for them?
I'm sorry, Kathy?
How can this work for them?
Okay, very good.
They'll just dismiss you.
They'll just dismiss you. Okay, interesting. How do you feel?
Nervous.
Okay. Can I ask you why, Mary?
Because in the past 4 years that I've tried to recruit, I've only had one that actually did anything. And the
Okay.
other people have been kidnappers.
Okay. Who else? Who wants to tell me how they feel? Who wants to share? Christina, how about you?
Well, I'm excited about the opportunity for them to get their kit for free. My daughter now wants to do it. My neighbor wants to do it. So we shall see.
Excellent. Okay. Great, Christina. Heather, how about you? What comes to your mind when you think about recruiting?
Nervous.
Okay, can I ask you why?
Just because I just started, so thinking about to explain anything to them makes me not feel confident at all. So.
Okay, all right. That's perfectly natural, Heather. Excuse me. Let's see who else is joined us. Christy, you're on. How do you feel about recruiting, girl?
Actually, I'm super excited about it, and I'm hoping to have one sign up tonight.
Excellent. That's great. Sandra, how do you feel, hon? Our two newest directors?
I am super excited, and I just want to have a huge team, so I can't wait. Okay. I've already got 3 people that I'm working with right now about signing up over the next month.
Awesome. Kelly, how about you, hon? How do you feel about it?
I'm really excited about it. I'm on my fast track and working on my 4th recruit and potentially a 5th. So I still have a little over 30 days to go. So I'm really excited.
Well, and didn't Pampered Chef just give you a gift, honey?
A pretty big one, I guess.
They gave all of us a gift, but when you're really trying for a goal like that, that's awesome. And I see Taylor on. Taylor, hon, how do you feel about recruiting?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How do you feel about recruiting?
I potentially have a new recruit signing on, but other than that, it's kind of hit or miss.
Hit or miss? Are you excited about it, or does it make you nervous?
A little bit of both.
Okay, all right, that's natural too. All right. Well, thank you all for sharing. And hey, Jenny, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Jenny, how do you feel about recruiting, hon?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
And I'm excited about recruiting. I have in the past, and I need to do more of it. So.
Okay. Yeah, do more of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's really important that you know what? How you feel about this whole thing is so important because you just, it's our attitude. It's our attitude about everything that really, really matters here. So you really need to think about, and if you're new to recruiting, it's only natural to be a little bit nervous. But when we were talking last night, something that came to my mind was some training I have provided a bit that I have not provided for a while. And, recruiting is seriously very simple. And sometimes I think we make the mountain bigger than it is. Has anyone heard that old saying, making a mountain out of a molehill?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we think it's really, and I really want you to think about now, when someone recruited you, would you, what, was it that big of a thing?
I recruited myself.
See, this is, you know what, and I right now, and I don't know offhand who recruited you. I'd have to look it up.
Billy Joe Murphy, Billy Joe.
Okay,
But
Billy Joe. Oh, that's right. Okay.
That was after last year's conference when they had the half or the free 109 kit.
Uh-huh.
And she put that out there, and I jumped right on it.
Yeah, I remember now, Christina. But okay, so really, when you think about it, think about both sides of that, and think sometimes how irrational we are when we make it such a big deal. And I mean, it is a big deal, but and some of us, it's an easier decision than others. Some people have an easier time making a decision than others. But and I mentioned last night too, on one of the calls that we have great recruiters on our team, and one of my best friends is Marna Ross, who has always been top in recruiting. And I have gone to her. First of all, Marna Ross, I admire Marna Ross for her work ethic. But second of all, she runs an amazing business in Saginaw, Michigan. Now, what do you know? For some of you from Michigan, what do you know about Saginaw, Michigan?
It's referred to as Sag Nasty.
Okay, there's, I went to a couple of her shows, and I'm sure that my car was worth more than the house I was going into.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, she does an amazing business there. And what happens, and what I've noticed, and I've watched her do it on numerous occasions, well, she will recruit 4 people from the party. Because what happens is, and what in watching her work, is she finds what makes them tick. And then she knows how to fit the Pampered Chef along with, how they tick. And when you really think about it, what makes people tick is similar. There's maybe 20 things that make people tick. And when you know how to fit Pampered Chef into those, how do they tick, like if somebody is busy, or if somebody has kids, or if somebody is working on retirement, there are ways for Pampered Chef to fit into those lifestyles. You just need to know what they are and how to appeal to that. So when I talk about 5-question recruiting, to me, it brings it all down to basics. But before we get into that, I really want you to think about, first of all, how you feel about recruiting. Recruiting is not something we do to people. It's something we do for people. And I hope you think that the person that recruited you was doing it for you. And, if you really think about the blessings, and sometimes I love to give the assignment, sit down and write the top 20 reasons you do Pampered Chef, because that keeps you in touch with, why you're here. And again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to recruit? Most of us are recruiting because we're working on the next level. We want to build a team. How much do you want to build a team? Or are you just saying you want to build a team? And then and again, to me, whenever you do something, you need to be committed on a level 10, or why bother? I mean, that's just my makeup. And if you're a level 10, all of a sudden, I think of Maureen Kimmel, anybody in the 3-foot surroundings, they're going to know her passion. They're going to know what she knows about Pampered Chef. And so with that, when you really need to think about your level of excitement. And we're all excited in different ways. And I don't want you to be, fake or anything else. But, sometimes, you have to fake it till you make it. It's worked for me, okay. But let's talk about 5-question recruiting, because I think sometimes when we don't feel we know what to say, that kind of, hinders us. Would any of you agree with that?
Yes.
And when you don't know what to say, which means maybe you don't feel experienced How do you fix that?
Ask for help.
Well, ask for help and do it, right?
Yeah, and learn more.
You learn more. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to do it badly before you do it well.
You have to practice.
And the great thing about it is, nobody's gotten shot or died or anything over this, All we've done is we've learned and we've grown. So you learn more by no and by the obstacles than you really do with yes. So, all right, so whenever I am meeting with someone, and again, circumstances are going to be different, again, because of the person you're dealing with. Whenever somebody wants to talk about recruiting or sit down and have a conversation, I talk with them, if they say, I really think I want to do this. Well, tell me, do you want to know why to join Pampered Chef or how to get started? Now, do you see the difference there? It's going to be a different conversation if they really need to know why yet, okay? And if they need to know why, then we're going to go through this process. If they want to get started, get them going, sign them up. And I'm going to tell you what, sometimes, you let people get on the fence because you just don't go for the gusto, all right? And I'm going to tell you, if I forget to say this by the end of the night, a lot of times people are on the fence because you let them get on the fence because you're so afraid of hearing no. So keep that in mind too. All right, so that's one of the things, so let's talk about if they need to know why to get started. And I usually talk with them a little bit and get to know them. You when you're in a recruiting situation, you should be doing half of the talking that they are. All right, that's the gauge right there. So you want to talk with them and get to know them a little bit. A lot of times what they want to know is what are the advantages of a Pampered Chef business? And you might want to say, well, what has intrigued you about Pampered Chef? Why do you think that this, how do you think that this might enrich your life? What might be some of the things that they might say?
Help me support my family.
Income, right? Income. Excellent, Christy.
They love the products because they want products.
More products, okay.
Want more flexibility.
Okay. More flexibility to have a business to create income. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, this might be, this is, again, things you might. Okay, so like when you're talking with people and in a situation like this, you want to kind of think of an onion. You keep peeling away until you get to the core. Because a lot of times people either don't think really what the reason is, or they're it's evolving. So think about the advantages of a Pampered Chef business. No deliveries. Some people like the idea of travel, right? Who likes the idea of traveling with Pampered Chef?
Absolutely.
I like it.
Be nice.
Yeah. If you've ever traveled with Pampered Chef, you're not really going to miss a trip after that, are you, Gail?
No, never.
No. Okay, so tell me, all right, Dixie, tell me, what do you think is one of the biggest advantages of a Pampered Chef business?
Spending more time with my family.
Okay, all right. So let's just say you're interviewing me and you're talking to me, Dixie. I don't have any kids, right? So would that necessarily come up in the conversation?
It might, because I would ask them, if they're married, do they spend a lot of time together? Do they go on trips or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So you could work it in the conversation.
You can, if they bring it up.
Right.
If they bring it up. And it's like, if the travel is important to you, you're not going to sit there and talk about all the travel when they could care less about the travel.
Right.
So that's really important for you to, pay attention. And you know what? Feel free to take notes. If you're meeting with somebody, even one-on-one, feel free to take notes. And by the way, if you're not comfortable with any of this, a three-way call with your director or your recruiter. That's a really good thing too, because if you don't feel like you know the answer, and you do know a lot more than you think you do, because you've gone through it. You've got more experience because you are a consultant, and you have been with Pampered Chef, and you do have a history, and so you're a step ahead of them, even if you just signed up yesterday. You know how easy it is on the website. So anyway, but really think about the advantages, and again, the advantages as it pertains to the people that you're talking to. Think about what kind of support they want to know. Am I going to get help? And I'm going to tell you that in the direct selling world, there's a lot of people out there that leave companies because they don't get a lot of help. So, something I always like to say, if I fell off the face of the earth, you're going to get great support, even if it's just through the new website. Now this whole conversation changes because of the Dash system that they are just announcing, which is just phenomenal. And have any of you played with that today?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you impressed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very.
How many points do you have so far?
Oh gosh, I had about 40 last night, I think.
Okay.
But I will tell you, Karen, I've already gotten some good feedback from one of my new consultants that's been going through, and she was really talking highly of it. So that's what we want to hear is good.
You betcha.
Good feedback, especially from the new folks.
You betcha. And it's great for anyone that wants a kickstart. Anyway, so that is another great thing that we have to offer for support. What other things do you find that are helpful and that you find supportive?
For me, being able to talk to my director, she's really great at helping me all along the way.
Awesome. What other, let's come up with about 5 more pieces of support. What else can we share with them?
I think going to the cluster meetings if you can get to them, because every time I go, I learn something, even if it's something that I'd forgot about.
Mm-hmm. And the fellowship there is great too, isn't it, Dixie?
Yes.
Yeah, we're building friendships. Some people do Pampered Chef because they're lonesome.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do Pampered Chef because they need a pat on the back.
Mm-hmm.
What other things? How about the product information? Do you think that's a good support?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Okay.
I always tell them myself too that I'm there for them if they have questions, and if I'm not available, there's always somebody in the group that is.
How about Joe Pack?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say our team pages. If they can't get in touch with their director right away or the recruiter, there's always people on Facebook on the groups that will help you. If you just have a question about something.
Yeah. And I know that each team, Tuesday night training for Joe Pack, if you want to, participate in that.
All the classes and things that you offer, Karen, is phenomenal. The Sunday night new consultant stuff, the things on Tuesday night that you're doing. I mean, everything's great. I mean, we've got so much support all around, and if you don't take advantage of it, you're missing out.
What I've always said, if you can get your training from wherever you want, it's here if you need it, but if you don't want to use it, what we have to offer, you can find it somewhere else, go for it. That doesn't hurt my feelings, as long as you get the support you need. Let me see. But it's funny how, when you talk about meetings, and especially in this day and age, people think meetings are stuffy, but there's nothing stuffy about our Pampered Chef meetings. And I think that's important to talk about too. And maybe ask them, they were with a direct selling company, because there are some direct selling companies, they had to go to a meeting every Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a thought. Okay, so that again, so now the advantage, what are the advantages of a Pampered Chef business? What kind of support will I get? And how will I find business to get off to a good start? Do you think this is a biggie?
Yes.
And, is it me that's doing I'm hearing feedback. I'm going to mute some people out, and if you have to come back in. Okay. Everyone wonders how a business like this can be successful. It's only a natural thought. But when you really think about it, business is everywhere. What do you think about that? Do you think that business is everywhere?
Yes.
Definitely.
And I'm going to tell you what you sow right now, what you talk about with them right now is what they're going to take with them. If you come off iffy here, if you're thinking, I ain't got bookings, my calendar isn't where I want it to be, really, I mean, if my calendar is ever not where I want it to be, I can't blame it on anything but me, right? I can't blame it on the business because there's a lot of people out there getting bookings. I just have to tweak my way. So when you're sometimes, and this is the whole thing, when you don't feel confident, when you don't feel like you're successful right now, if you're not at the top of your game, when you're talking with someone about starting a Pampered Chef business, you might not really feel that confident and you might not realize that you're coming off like that. So now is another reason why you need to be at the top of your game. You need to have your schedule where you want it so that when you're talking with people about this, when you say business is everywhere, they're going to know in your heart that that's what you believe. That's a little food for thought there. So things are a little bit different now than it has been because we're doing so much virtual business. One of the things that I like to say to someone, and I just said this to someone yesterday who I'm working with, she said, I'm just not getting any book, or I just don't know that many people. And I went to her Facebook page and I looked to see how many friends she had. Any idea how many friends you have? Any idea?
How many we have?
Yeah, how many friends do you have? Do you know?
Yeah.
How many?
Approximately.
Tell me how many.
I got about 1,900.
Okay, 1,900. So if I said to you, look through your friends list, can you find 20 people to contact for the next?
Oh my gosh.
Next week? Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you go down to the end of your friends list, you're going to think, oh, I haven't talked to that person forever. I haven't ever asked that person. That's just your Facebook group.
Yep.
Now, think about the people, if you were if you had a wedding going on in your family, who do you're making a list of people. You wouldn't be making a list of people thinking, well, I'm not sure they'll come to the wedding because everybody wants to go to a wedding. You're thinking about, I can't afford to invite all these people, right? You're cutting down the list because you can't afford to invite all these people. But if you could afford to invite everybody, which you can with Pampered Chef business, you would be inviting a lot more. Am I wrong?
No, you're correct.
All right. So you think about, and that, this is not Karen wants to be right thing because I just want to. But to think about it, and Maureen Kimmel has always said the average funeral has 300 people.
She kills me. She does it. She does it.
I know she does. A hospital visit or a funeral is just another place to network. We love you, Mo.
Got to talk about something.
I got to talk about something. Find out what kind of activities they are. How many organizations are you a member of? And that's the thing. Who do you know? Again, go back to the Frank's list. Again, this is old Pampered Chef stuff, but it's networking. It's networking. Your friends, your relatives, acquaintances, neighbors. Get to know your neighbors. People don't do that anymore. Unless you live on a 55-mile-an-hour highway like I do. People you know through your kids, and then spouse or social media. And what happens is, okay, Gail, if I ask you, what's the name of your best friend?
Maureen. No.
That's okay. We're just going to use her as an example. Okay, so you're going to use Maureen, and now you're going to think of Maureen and who are her friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, people her kids know, and her spouse. So now you've really compounded.
Yeah.
If you're, again, depending on how serious you are on a scale from 1 to 10. You're going to try to make every acquaintance you can because you're going to be asking Maureen for referrals. Who do you know that loves to entertain? So again, it's just really walking through this with people. Again, if you've not done it for your business, this is something you want to do with them. And again, this is something you can do with your host. I mean, getting out your network of people who you know is just sitting down and just doing brainstorming and bringing up ideas. Talk with them about what their life is like on a daily, weekly, and a monthly basis. Like what organizations are, who would they invite to the wedding, like I mentioned. And again, they don't have a limit. With a wedding list, they have a limit of people they can invite. And it's not, you don't want to think about people in terms of whether you think they will have a Pampered Chef party or not. There's really 5 pieces of information you can get from everyone. Number 1 is you can tell them about an event you're having. The next thing is you could ask them if they'd like to see a catalog. The next thing you can ask them is if they would like to have a show. The next thing is, would they be interested in having being a part of your Pampered Chef team? And the next thing is referral. So there's really 5 pieces of information that you can get from everybody. Now, you may not be able to get it at every call. You might not sit, and like, okay, who do you know? And you don't do that. But as time goes on, you certainly want to be asking for a referral. But just brainstorm with them. Let me see what else. Let's see. How much money will I earn? Do you think people want to know that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
How many of you would be doing Pampered Chef if you didn't get paid?
No, I still would.
I might still would too. I like the products.
Exactly.
It's funny. I remember back when, and I think I might have mentioned this last night, that I didn't sign up to sell Pampered Chef, and we all have a different story. I didn't sign up to sell Pampered Chef for the money. I started doing it for fun. And then I learned about the free trips. And my dad was a traveling salesman. I've been in every state. There was a couple states I hadn't been in, but Pampered Chef has taken care of that since I've been with Pampered Chef. But I've never wanted to travel really outside of the country, and I'm not inclined to spend the money to do it, quite frankly. But Pampered Chef changed all that. And every trip I've made outside of the country, outside of going to Canada, because I grew up in Detroit, which is I go to Canada to get my hair cut. But I have never paid for a trip outside of this country with Pampered, and I've been all over the world with Pampered Chef. And I forget, here I'm digressing like I tell you not to do when you're recruiting. But the whole point is I would have done Pampered Chef just for the travel. I'm like, oh yeah, I get a paycheck, and that's what happened. The first day I was working full time, and I went to I signed up in April, and I did go to the Pampered Chef conference in July, and they announced a Hawaii trip, and I'm like, oh, that's how they get you. I kept thinking they were trying to make me quit my full-time job because I was with a different direct selling company that put pressure on me to quit my full-time job because I recruited 12 people in 6 months. Well, I thought this is the way they're going to get you. They want you to quit your full-time job so you can earn this trip to Hawaii, Well, I figured out the points and thought if I just boosted my average and did 1 more show a month, I'd earned Hawaii. And I did. But along the way, I earned money. I became an Excellence Award. Back then it was called TPC. I became an Excellence Award. I became a director. And I earned my at that time, it was a ruby ring. So I didn't care about the money. So this is what, again, there's going to be some people that will tell you what they want to earn. And a lot of times people sometimes don't want to admit that the money is important to them. For some reason, we have this thing about it's bad to earn money. Just saying, but no, it's not. But the thing about it is it's what the money will do. And so that is, we want to help people come up with goals and tangible goals, because the hardest people to deal with when you're recruiting is people who say, well, I don't know, if I do good, okay, if I don't. You need somebody that's a little bit hungry and figure out what their why is so that we can help bring them to what, how they can create or achieve that why with their Pampered Chef business. So when someone says, how much money will I earn? And that's where I say, it really depends on you. If I could promise you a perfect business and everyone you met wanted to do a show, and you could have as many shows on your calendar as you wanted, how many shows a month would that be? And I'm going to tell you that even now we're getting to the point where we're talking about shows per week. We're not talking about shows per month. So when a new consultant is starting out, we encourage them to do a launch show right now, a virtual launch show, and then get 4 virtual parties on the calendar in the next week. And I recommend a Sunday through a Saturday show with Friday and Saturday building up to it. And because what happens when they do that, and you all know why we want to do 4 shows, right? 4 virtual parties the first week. Does anyone remember why? We've been on the Sunday night training.
Because it'll qualify them?
It'll qualify them.
Mhm.
But if they do 4 shows, maybe one's going to stink, right? One will be okay. One will be great.
And they'll earn some money.
And they'll
Right
earn some money. Yeah. So then, like Christy said, they'll probably qualify. So, and wouldn't it be great to qualify in their first week?
Yeah, be wonderful.
And now they're
Absolutely.
going to get bookings for the second, third, and fourth week. So that's really important. So, this is where we want to help them build good business habits, and of course, get them on any training you can. Get them on Sunday night training. Just getting them engaged. And of course, I love hearing from Gail that she's already hearing great feedback from her new consultant. But I think you need to ask them, how much would you like to earn? And this is one of the things where when you ask a question, you need to bite your tongue. Don't try to, let them answer the question and then respond and then listen. You know what I mean? So again, it might be peeling that onion where you're really getting down to it. But you want to find out how many shows that they would like to do based on what their goals are. And then you might say something like, then you want to set an expectation of, now, based on what we've talked about, does being a Pampered Chef consultant sound like something you'd like to do? And again, let them answer. Give them time. And then, and you might just talk about what the average consultant makes. I think for hers personally with virtual parties, it's a little hard to tell how much per hour we make. If anybody can come up with that, I'd love to hear that. And of course, we can usually do it on an average party. And then, let's see. And then, what does it take to get started? And then, of course, leading them to the to your website to sign up. A lot of times, and quite frankly, what I really like to do is I like to sign them up myself. I go on and I get their credit card, I get their social security number, their information, and I sign them up. And then when I sign them up, I create their password, their user ID and their password, so that if they need any help, I can go in and as them and help them. There's really nothing that we can do with their password and their user ID to hurt them. The only thing we can do is help them. And a lot of times they lose it. Has anybody found that out?
Oh, yeah.
And if you have a record of it, you're going to be able to support them. And you're going to find that it comes in really handy sometimes to have their user ID and their password. So then that way I know they're signed up. And I know if there's an issue, then I can handle it. So let's see. But I'm really going to encourage you, elicit their obstacles. Sometimes we don't like to listen to obstacles or maybe criticisms. But this is all part of the process. When they're sharing their obstacles with you, they haven't shut you down. Okay, they're giving you more information, and they're giving you another creative way to talk with them about the business. But don't be afraid to say, "Are you ready to get started?" or "When would you like your first paycheck?" All right, and because that's going to help them, help you to know where they stand with a yes or a no. And even if it's a no, just say, "Hey, Mary, thank you so much for talking with me. I just really appreciate you thinking about Pampered Chef. There is room for you in my business, whether you're a customer, a host, or a consultant. I want your time with Pampered Chef to be very positive." So we've got about 5 more minutes left. Does anyone have any questions or any obstacles that maybe I didn't talk about that you might need? think about one of the people that you're working with right now. Do you feel you have the tools to touch base with them and take it to the next step?
When I
Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, I didn't know where I was muted. I was waiting. It's what I had. I had talked it over with Dawn, and what I was going to do was to call some of my past hosts and some of my past people that were interested, and let them know of the new things that Pampered Chef are now doing. Let them know of the new kit and of the kit credit of we call it the free kit. And so that's was my agenda that I'm going to start tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I had to get I have my wording all out that I'm going to say, and also.
And I'm going to encourage you to keep it very light, Kathy, and find out. Okay. Say, hey, listen, there's some great things going on with Pampered Chef and starting, with the free kits. Would you like to hear more about it? Don't go on without their permission. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes we feel like we just want to go on and on. We just, and if they're not interested, you might say, may I ask why? Be afraid to say, is this just not a good time? Is this like a no, not now, or no, not ever kind of thing? So great, Kathy. I love that approach. To get in touch with your past hosts. You should be keeping a list of, we call it a rolling contact list. It can be just a simple binder like this that you just keep and you write names in it. I've got names in here right now. Keeping a list of who, over time, maybe then wasn't good, but maybe a free kit is something that will make a difference. Maybe the money wasn't right then, but it could be now. Anyone else need to, again, it's really important to me whenever you leave a meeting or a workshop that you feel you know what to do, what the next step is. Because I want to know that all of you are contacting these people either tonight or tomorrow. Right?
Karen, I've set a goal to talk to 20 people this week. So,
excellent. I love that goal. That's very concise.
Yeah. And I've already got more than that. I've got 29 names written down, and I've gotten through about a third of them that I've contacted. I haven't heard back from everybody, but I'm getting some pretty good results. So, and the other thing I have that I want to share is, don't overthink it. Just talk to people. Just have a conversation. That's all it is. It's not, we're not trying to talk them into doing anything. We just want to tell them what we have and share it with them, and maybe explore and see if it's a good fit for them. But just don't overthink it. Don't get it in your head. I got to say this. I got to say this. Just talk to people. Find out where they are and kind of, like Karen said, get to know them first, and then just kind of see how we can help them. If Pampered Chef would be a good fit, just ask them.
Just ask you. Thank you so much for saying that. We're just being human. We're just trying to bless people.
That's it.
Karen, and one thing I want to add to, for anybody who's been in it a while longer and is not new, one of the things I'm going to do is check in with past consultants that aren't consultants. And maybe I already said that, but and that way, it might not have been a good fit then, but things might have changed. So I will be doing that as well.
Love it, Christy.
That's a great idea, Christy. I've got about 2 or 3 that I've already been talking to that are considering coming back. So
awesome.
Yeah. So that's a great thing to do.
I'm going to tell you what, a little piece of advice I'd give you, Christy, and you brought this up. Keep a list of everyone who's been on your team starting right now, if you want to go back and do it, because I'm going to tell you what, after 27 years, I certainly wish that I'd have done that.
I know.
Keep a list. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Because, people come and go, I can think of past people on our team who they recruited people and I didn't keep track, and maybe they'd be interested in coming back.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question.
Please, listen a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you think it's a good idea to have a Facebook page for people who are potentially